system, get a free security camera. Good to have you in today. So the Pittsburgh Steelers are essentially playing chicken. They keep dissing Big Ben, and they're daring him to say something back. So if the Steelers keep Big Ben this year, he's a $41 million cap hit. He's worth less than half of that, in my opinion. If they release him, it's $22 million cap hit, dead money cap hit. To which I would say, so what? For 1 year, go get Sam Darnold. You're not paying Sam Darnold anything. The key is, what are you paying the position? If you bring in Sam Darnold with the dead money from Ben, it's $30 million. That's under market value, right? So the thing about Big Ben, and it's really heightened because of Tom Brady's greatness in tape study. There's a story that came out that Brady basically, the night before the Super Bowl, is sending all his receivers, tight ends, and backs tape at midnight. And he has been known. We saw Tom versus Time. Tom is a tape addict. And there's a handful of guys in the league. I think Tom's more addicted than most, but he's an addict. The not-so-secret in Pittsburgh is Ben doesn't like tape study. He doesn't really tape study. That's why the Steelers have the most remedial, simplest pre-snap audibles in the game. It's like high school football. And so Pittsburgh has a new offensive coordinator and a new quarterback coach. And both of them want to make the offense more sophisticated, more multiple sets, more motions. And Ben really isn't into that smart football thing. And so Ben, like Brett Favre at the end of his career, like, this is who I am. Love me or hate me, this is who I am. And that was adorable in the 80s and 90s, but it's 2021. And you just can't get away with being old, slow, inaccurate, and not studying tape. There are guys who are just talented, Favre and Big Ben. But the minute they're out of their prime, their usefulness in the locker room drops significantly. And then there are guys you'll just keep around forever. Udonis Haslem still plays for the Miami Heat. He's a culture setter. Drew Brees, workaholic grinder, culture setter. He was past his prime 4 years ago. Larry Fitzgerald, you just keep him in the room. He's an example. He's a mentor. He's smart. He offers wisdom. He's a grinder. And then there are other athletes, the majority of them, once they're out of the prime, get them out of the building. They're not guys. They're just talented. Favre had a lot of this. Ben's got a lot of this. So what the Steelers are basically doing now is they're playing chicken with him. They're leaking all these stories. They let it be known. We're ready to move. And I think it's the smart move. You cannot afford to pay Big Ben $41 million. Absolutely cannot afford to pay him $41 million. You can afford $22 million of dead cap money if you go get a Sam Darnold for a year. And by the way, this should not be undersold. The idea that Pittsburgh will go off the rails without Big Ben. Big Ben has missed 41 games with the Steelers. You know what their record is? 23-18. A couple years ago, they went 3-3 with something called Duck Hodges and 5-3 with Mason Rudolph. You think they can't move the football? They can't play without Big Ben? They're playing chicken with him, and I'm here for it. Joy Taylor with the news.
No. Turn on the news. This is the Herdline News.
Let's talk about Dak Prescott's contract, shall we?
Oh, let's play. I love that story. It never gets old.
Well, and it never ends. The window to begin applying the franchise or transition tag to NFL players opens today.
Yes, for March 9th. You got about a week, right?
Yes. So last year, the Cowboys failed to sign Dak Prescott to a multi-year contract. They're reportedly optimistic that they'll have a different outcome this time around. They are looking to work out a long-term deal before the March 9th deadline to apply the tag. However, another report says that the two sides have talked, but nothing meaningful has come from it. There's certain things I need to find out in sports. Like, I need to find out all of the inner workings of the Patriots dynasty.
Oh, it's fun.
And, how all that unfolded.
I love it.
This contract, I don't know if we'll ever actually get the real story for what's going on here, but it just feels like we've been talking about this for so long. and I don't get it. Dak doesn't want a long deal. He wants a 4-year deal. The Cowboys want a 5-year deal because of the money. What are you doing? Like, you don't talk about playing chicken. They're going to pay Dak $37.7 million on the tag this year, and then he's going to hit the open market next year. And you know what Dak's going to do in the open market? Whatever he wants. Dak is a winner. Other than this injury, he's always available. What are they without him? They went 4-7 without him last year. Like, you're talking about Duck Hodges and Mason Rudolph. Steelers were kind of still okay. Now, I don't think Mason Rudolph is the answer, and certainly Duck Hodges isn't, but what are the Cowboys going to do? Like, what is your plan?
Well, it's interesting because you can franchise one guy, and if you pay him $37 million, you're kind of trapped for a year for an organization that has multiple holes, most on defense. So, or you can sign him to a longer deal and largely manipulate the cap. And so I think Dallas has two plays here. If you sign him to a long-term deal, the number comes down, you can manipulate it.
Right.
I mean, the bottom line, if you draft well, you're fine at $32 million with a quarterback. You really are. You got to hit your draft picks. But the Rams, by the way, pay a lot of stars, a lot of money, but they've hit on almost every draft pick of note. So if the Cowboys trust their scouting department, then you sign Dak long-term. The biggest issue with this organization, and this $32 million would not be nearly as big a deal, but you're paying DeMarcus Lawrence, a solid player, huge money, and Amari Cooper, a good receiver, great money. So Dallas can worry about Dak, but the bigger issue here is you are overpaying multiple players, top 5 in the league, and they're probably top 20 players. So they're a little jammed up, and Dak's paying the price for it.
And you also prioritize signing your running back over the quarterback.
I never liked that. I didn't like it.
Pro Football Focus has Prescott ranked as the #1 overall free agent.
Well,
so if he hits the open market, he's going to have his choice of where he wants to go. So Sam Darnold's future in New York is uncertain.
I know.
And he probably won't have an answer anytime soon. The Jets have the second pick in the draft, as we know, and they will reportedly evaluate all the top quarterback prospects before making a decision. And those evaluations include the player's pro day workouts, individual interviews, and so it will likely be closer to the draft before the Jets know what they're going to do with Darnold.
Well, they were out of the playoffs by September 15th, so can't they look at that film? I mean, haven't they evaluated Darnold and Trevor Lawrence?
Well,
Don't you have film on him?
I think they're not going to get Trevor Lawrence, but I think they are maybe considering throwing that film out since Adam Gase was at the helm.
Okay, well, Justin Fields played his last game a month ago. You haven't sat down, and what are you guys doing?
I think they want to
interview.
I think they want to go through the interviews. Oh
God, that's going to do it. Really, I'm going to sit down. I'm like, I hate his tape. You know, I found him charming. Watch his tape. Interview. What is that? What is it? I could fool anybody at an interview.
I don't know. I think it matters. I think if you're making a decision of this magnitude, there's no need to rush. Maybe you stick with Sam Darnold, and maybe it's time to move on.
Johnny Manziel was great in his interview. But that doesn't mean anything to me.
Was he? I think they just wanted to go with Johnny
Come
Manziel.
on, Jets. You have Darnold tape, Fields tape. What? I mean, I don't understand this. What game are you playing
I
here?
think they're taking their time to evaluate the situation before they go into the draft, and maybe they're waiting for other offers.
Is BYU playing games from now until April? Is Ohio State got some more?
I don't know. They need more research. They need to see what their work ethic is, and what their personality is.
Make 4
their
calls.
Leaders in the locker room. I don't know.
Phones still work. Make calls.
Cam Newton is set to become a free agent and could be on the market and on his way out of New England. Although much was made about his relationship with Bill Belichick throughout last season, Cam has nothing but respect and admiration for Belichick.
I think Bill Belichick is the most misunderstood person in all of sports.
100%, 1,000%.
He dope as
Yeah.
He is a cool dude. He understands the game. He's like an historian of the game.
Yeah.
And for you to just sit down and chat with him, like, it's like, damn, like he's going back and he's got film, like literally teaching the game.
It's quite an endorsement from Cam Newton there.
I don't know what that interview was. I've seen 50 clips on that interview. It must have been a great podcast.
Yeah, it's the I Am Athlete, Brandon Marshall podcast.
I got a lot of play. That's like the 15th story we've done on that podcast.
There were a lot of great. It's Brandon Marshall, Ocho Cinco. Yeah, it's a good interview actually, but that's a great endorsement for Bill Belichick, who's taken a lot of L's over the past year.
Yeah,
He's not generally described as dope as bleep. But I get what he's saying. I think that Cam appreciates what Bill is as a coach, what his style is. He talked more about it and talked about like the Patriot way and what all of that really means. And it's not really much different than what we've heard from everyone, but obviously this experience this year was very unique from the past 20 years where you've had Tom Brady. And he's basically saying, like, winning is the standard. Like, everything that you do there is about winning. It's not about your personality. It's not about your feelings.
You know what?
It's not about what you're going through. Like, at the end of the day, you got to do your job.
I'm probably as critical of Cam as anybody in the national media. The last year, I like Cam Newton more than I've ever liked. First of all, that bratty kid, I am out on. All these interview clips have been great. Certain people age better. I think Cam was immature entering the league. I think he's kind of coming to terms with his football mortality, like his football career. And I think he's starting to appreciate things that he probably had so much talent early he didn't care about. Like, just give me the ball. I mean, that's his whole life. Junior college, high school, college, give me the ball. I mean, if you watch Cam at Auburn, he literally just, you couldn't stop him.
Yeah, he's always been the best athlete.
It was literally like he looked like Thanos or whatever these games are. And so I think Cam, as he's like becoming less of a player, unlike Big Ben, Cam's putting in the work and kind of appreciates. He's seeing himself and going, I want to end this with some dignity. And I like it. I really do.
I mean, sometimes it takes time to evolve and lean into different parts of the game that you haven't had to experience. Yeah. And there is no experience like